Hello, friends. Welcome back to Extraordinary Strides, where we celebrate everyday runners taking big, bold, audacious, and often bedazzled steps towards something extraordinary. I'm Coach Christine. I'm a level 2 RRCA certified run coach and an ACE health coach, and I specialize in coaching women, specifically women runners in all phases of life. So whether you're chasing a new PR, you're pushing a stroller, you're juggling work calls, or maybe you're approaching that season in life when there's the big change. Well, friend, I'm here to support you every single step of the way. You are in the right place. But this week's episode, it's a love letter to movement, joy, and mental wellness. It's also a nod to what I call sparkle therapy. We're talking about what if the Met Gala was made for runners, how dopamine dressing can get you out of a running funk, and how we can support mother runners through the chaos that is Maycember with grace and realistic tools and tips. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna learn, and we're gonna leave with full permission to wear glitter and compression socks in the same outfit. So let's get laced up and let's get ready to rock this. We missed an episode last week because I was fully in the feels of just taking in another birthday year and celebrating with loved ones. And also, I was getting really ready for the Met Gala. I am a huge fan. Every year it rolls around and fashion lovers everywhere, myself included, drop everything to devour the couture, creativity, and the occasional confusion that descends on the steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And it got me thinking, as a run coach would, what if the Met Gala wasn't for celebrities and designers, but it was instead for us runners? Enter strides and maybe not so stilettos, because we got to save our feet for that run. The Met Gala for the running community. So bear with me here. I think it's equal parts high performance and high fashion. And on this imaginary red carpet, it would be a celebration of pace and passion and a perfectly timed porta potty stuffs. Of course, this event would begin promptly at 5 p.m. and it would end at 7 p.m. sharp because I was in bed already when that red carpet was going on. Let's be honest, anything later than 7 p.m. is going to interfere with our bedtime routine. And we all know what happens when runners don't get their sleep. Yeah, that's right. Nothing good. Now, the theme, if I was Anna Wintour, would be couture and motion, because nothing says fabulous like a flash of rhinestones on compression socks or a sweeping cape billowing behind someone mid-stride. This night wouldn't just be about what you wear, it would be about how you wear it and how you wear it when you move. Think function meets fantasy, tempo meets tool. It's the ultimate mashup of hydration and haute couture. Now, the fashion houses, instead of seeing Chanel and Prada and Tom Ford, well, I think what we would be seeing is the world marathon majors taking over. Bear with me here. I'm going to tie it together. I know you may be thinking, what in the world is she talking about? Did she lose her ever-loving mind? I promise, I think this would work. So for this event, the now 7 World Marathon Majors would serve as the official fashion houses, each bringing their own signature style to the evening. We would, of course, kick it off with Boston by the House of Tradition. It would be structured, heritage-rich, classic lines, navy, maybe a pop of gold elegance, with, of course, sleek vintage race bib accents. Think preppy performance wear, polished to perfection. Attendees might show up in a throwback Boston Athletic Association gear styled into a sleek formal tracksuit with hand-beaded unicorns, of course. And then we would take it to New York City by the House of Grit. It would be a chaotic, glorious clash of cultures and boroughs, edgy, experimental, a little bit of street fashion, unapologetically bold. Imagine a gown made entirely of recycled race signs from Brooklyn to the Bronx with a windbreaker style train and a little bit of "you got this" printed in metallic down the back. Come on, you can see it, right? I know I can. Of course, we would take a little hop across the pond over to London by the House of Royal Endurance. Think rain-resistant silk. Is that possible? Well, it is in my world. Regal headbands, trenches as capes, pearls with pacing bracelets. There'd be nods to the Queen and Big Ben, and, well, a little bit of maybe some soggy race conditions, but all tastefully dripping in elegance. perhaps even a Royal Guard style pacing squad. Okay, then while we're already over the pond, we dip on down to Berlin by House of Precision. Think streamlined and aerodynamic, futuristic silhouettes built for speed, garments inspired by Kipchoge's 2:01 world record, carbon fiber embellishments, watches set to 4:37 pace. I don't think I could even hold that for 2 seconds. Sleek shoes that glow under LED lighting and no frills, just pure Fast and Furious vibes. Of course, we couldn't have this house of fashion without bringing it back to the Heartland in Chicago with a little bit of that House of Heartland swagger. Midwest nice with a side of performance edge. Think bold reds, skyline-inspired patterns, and garments that pay homage to deep dish pizza and negative splits, which, by the way, means that it has to be comfy for that deep dish pizza. A utility vest bedazzled with fuel gels, and obviously bonus points if we can hold a slice of Lou Milanatis. I'm telling you, my friends, this is the Met Gala that I really want to see. Now, we'd be roping it up with our newest additions to the World Marathon Majors in those houses right here. We'd have Tokyo by House of Zen Speed. It would be minimalist perfection with thoughtful detailing, origami style layering, fast meets fashion forward with kimono inspired race kits and Shibuya street style sneakers. And let's be real, someone's definitely going to show up dressed up as a robot or having a little bit of super kawaii type vibes, and I'm here for it. And then last, but certainly not least, is Sydney by House of Rise and Shine. A little boho chic, if you will. The newest addition to the majors would shine with sunrise hues, ocean-inspired textures, trail to tux transformations. I wish you guys could see me. I'm literally speaking with my hands. I'm so excited about this imaginary Met Gala. Think surf meets start line and goldenrod and blue with accents that nod to kangaroos, koalas, and carb loading. Of course, I'm curious what you think of these fashion houses so far. Do you agree? Disagree? Do you think that we should have a whole other theme if you were the Anna Wintour of this specific Met Gala for runners? Well, I can tell you that I would continue with the must-have accessories for the red carpet, because we don't need clutches, we don't need diamonds, even though we don't mind some sparkle. Here's what the fashion-forward runner would bring to the Met Gala carpet: a GPS watch couture edition, so maybe a customized Coros or Garmin with some new metallic chrome finishes programmed to beep every mile on the red carpet. Bonus if your VO2 max flashes onto your wrist. Of course, we'd have designer fuel belts, crystal-encrusted hydration packs, and handheld bottles monogrammed by, who knows, maybe Louis Vuitton Run Club. I feel like there's somebody out there who speaks French who's like, that's not how you say that. Okay, we'd also have, in this one, come on, this one really is like function meets high performance. Foam roller clutches. You know you always have a little ache or pain here. So this sleek fashion meets function rollers, or you could just tuck it under your arm like a little baguette purse. And then the dual purpose is you could break it out anytime you need a little massage and a little extra style and panache. Of course, I would beg the coordinators to add a Shoofy spotlight platform, built-in lighting on your racing shoes for the perfect post-red carpet Shoofy. We also would have a little bit of chafing chic. Body glide disguised as lipstick, gold bond powder, puffs passed around in compacts, glamorous and protective. Let's not forget we'd have a little bit of compression glam and maybe some bedazzled calf sleeves and ombre recovery socks. And of course, it's going to be a who's who of who's hosting this fashion house. We're going to need hosts that truly get the sport. So maybe Shalane would come out, Des, Meb. They're all delivering their red carpet commentary. I think, we'd have Meb telling us to just smile. And then maybe Kara Goucher would have a little bit of her podcasting playing live in the background while runners vogue with foam rollers. Again, I think you may have thought that I lost my mind, but I'm with this. And then for the vibe, think a little Run Disney meets New York Fashion Week. There's a costume contest. There's maybe a little bit of a dance-off. Someone's running mile repeats in a tulle gown. Actually, I do think that happens. Big shout out to the Run Disney crew who does actually run in some of those fabulous gowns. The DJ starts the evening with a little Run the World. of course, Beyonce, and ends at 6:59 sharp so we could all get home and tucked in with a little bit of Eye of the Tiger, though. The after party for those that are living on the wild side, they may have a little post-event shakeout run to your hotel or maybe just to bed, because the real finish line for us runners, it's always going to be our beautiful, comfy pillow. And trust us, no matter how couture the evening, runners know that sleep is the true, real luxury. So here's to strides and maybe not so stilettos, where the red carpet's actually a start line, the cameras flash in cadence, and every runner's a star of their own PR story. I'd love to know, again, like, which major marathon house would fit more of your style? And would you make your race day fit a little bit more aerodynamic, or do you think you'll add in a touch of avant-garde? Because while we're taking inspiration from this magically made up event in my head, we're going to go from performance couture into our next segue of performance psychology, because we're going to talk about, because again, this is a natural progression. That may have all sounded kind of silly, but it's rooted in some really good information of dopamine dressing. And it's why your neon shorts might be more powerful than you think. Taking that inspiration and being very honest that even the most dedicated runner hits a slump now and then, maybe the motivation to lace up is lagging. I'm actually experiencing a little bit of a training slump myself right now. So this is absolutely something that I need to hear as well. And I am utilizing all of these tips to help me kind of get a little bit of that extra boost. Of course, we do know that sometimes you aren't as excited for your weekend-long runs, or you've stood in front of your closet getting ready to get laced up, and you just kind of, you just have that sigh where you're like, I don't want to lace up again. I don't want to get dressed for this run. I don't want to get out the door on the treadmill. So since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, we're going to talk about this one surprisingly fun and science-backed strategy that's going to help give you the nudge that you need. And again, it is dopamine dressing. And for anybody who's doubting this, I did this literally last year to kick off my Marine Corps 50K training. I went on that ride or die skirt find mission, and it so much helped me get out the door and have so much more fun. So let's talk a little bit more about it. What is dopamine dressing? Dopamine dressing is not something you put on your salad. It's all about wearing clothes that make you feel good, make you feel energized, happy, empowered, and a little fabulous. It's based on the idea that bright colors, bold prints, and clothes that spark joy can stimulate dopamine, that feel-good neurotransmitter in your brain. So think of it as wearing your why. Why do we get laced up? Why do we love running? Why do we keep moving forward towards these finish lines or start lines? Or why we want to be the healthiest version of ourselves? Well, this is what dopamine dressing can kind of help really actually be a physical manifestation. So if you've noticed that you feel a little stronger when you're wearing your favorite bold color, or maybe a really fun hat, or maybe even a shirt from one of your favorite races, that is dopamine dressing in action. Now, I do want to be clear before we move forward in this conversation that no outfit, no matter how cute, can solve deep burnout or mental health struggles on its own. But if you're just in a small funk, or you're stuck in that mid-training cycle blahs, a burst of color, or again, that playful pattern can be a surprisingly effective mood boost. So here's how we're going to do it. Visual motivation. The bold colors are energizing. When you catch a glimpse of yourself in hot pink tights or that ridiculous pineapple print singlet, it can make your run feel a little lighter, even if your legs don't 100% agree. There's also the fact that it works with being a routine disruptor. So if you're feeling stuck, everything feels like it's the same pattern, it's the same routine over and over again, switching up your look can trick your brain into seeing your run as something new, fresh, and maybe even exciting. Also really important, going to give the disclaimer, if you're bored of your entire training, you might need a new route to go hit up. So check in with your run buddies, go out there and get some new trails underneath your feet. It's also a confidence boost. Feeling good in what you wear can help you feel good in your run. Even if you're taking lots and lots of walk breaks, maybe you're even going through a little bit of a struggle bus, that's a-okay, because feeling good from that confidence boost is going to help you keep pushing through. And then it's also a joy multiplier. Your joy is contagious. So wearing something joyful might spark a smile from another runner or a pedestrian, or maybe somebody who's running down the street or driving down the street. And that smile is going to bounce right back on you. I feel like a little bit of I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you smile at me bounces off of me, and sticks to you. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I'm telling you, we do know there is science of a genuine smile, a genuine laughter being contagious. And that outfit that gives you a little boost, makes you smile a little bit more, is surely going to be something that acts as a ripple throughout the waves of your neighborhood or your running community. So tips for you to add a little dopamine to your wardrobe. Color pop. Start small. If you tend to go in all black, little ninja style, and that makes you feel good, bold, and audaciously badass, I'm not here to change that, but maybe add in a little pop of color. Add a brightly colored headband, neon socks, a bold pair of shoes. Maybe you may want to have a swipe of neon lipstick. I know that sometimes I do that, and it definitely gives me a little extra oomph. Or the next thing you could add is a little print party, looking for fun patterns that make you smile. So maybe it's animal prints or lightning bolts or donuts or flying pigs or dinosaurs or whatever it is, it kind of just makes you giggle a little bit. Now, another one that's fantastic is message tees, where you wear your mantra, or it really has a saying that makes you kind of giggle as well, mantra being strong AF, or maybe something that says powered by pizza. Whatever makes you smile is a really great way of adding into your dopamine dressing routine. A little matchy magic. Now, again, wear this out a little bit. Just, sometimes that when you have, you feel polished and presented and pulled together, even if everything's mayhem, when you have a bit of that matching vibe, that's where matching sets come into play. There are so many incredible athletic performance vendors that do that, be it Flock Sportswear or Crowned Athletics. If you haven't checked out these companies, definitely wonderful for that matchy magic. Bonus points if even your sports bra and your socks coordinate. And then last, but certainly not least, and definitely one of my favorites, is to sparkle responsibly, because sequins aren't just for the Met Gala. A little sparkle on your visor, skirt, a shoelace charm can light up the day, your world, and your mood. And while we're talking about mental health and Mental Health Awareness Month in the month of May, on the serious side, if you've been in a longer term funk or you're feeling persistently low, struggling to find joy in things that used to really light you up, like running, you're not alone, and there's no shame in getting support. So please, I'm going to ask you here, don't just rely on the sparkle visor. Please talk to someone you can trust. Reach out to a mental health professional. You're not broken. You are human. You're doing your best, and you deserve to feel better. So while dopamine dressing is a joyful accessory to your self-care plan, it's not the whole shebang, my friend. Now, with that said, I think it's appropriate that we also talk about the very important aspect that while we wanted to strut down that metaphorical red carpet, we've boosted our mood with bright gear, with dopamine dressing. In this month of May, specifically this weekend, we have to talk about the real MVPs for this month. It's the mother runners who are holding it all down during what can only be described as May-cember. Now, truly, May has been proven to be the busiest month of the year, even more so than December, with all the different functions and events going on. Why we would choose to put Mother's Day on that busy month that's already in play is beyond me, but clearly I was not a woman who planned for that. I will say, though, what I want to do now is a love letter to the mother runners that are holding it down, because you women are incredible. The ones who wake up early to get in a run before the chaos begins, the one who log miles between drop-offs and deadlines, you mother runners who are pushing strollers, chasing toddlers, juggling calendars, and still find time to lace up and move their bodies, even if it's just for a mental reset. So as we head into Mother's Day and continue to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month, it's a beautiful moment to pause and celebrate the powerful, resilient women, biological moms, chosen moms, fur baby moms, community moms, and all of the nurturers who keep showing up. But let's also acknowledge something else. Because it is May-cember, and you know what I mean, the unofficial season that May feels like a surprise December. There's overflowing those recitals, field days, graduations, banquets, end of year chaos, in an inbox that looks like it's constantly on fire. Whew. Even just thinking about all of that gives me a little bit of chest tightening. So let's talk about grace, because this month might not be the time for a new PR. It may not even be the time for a consistent routine. It can be a time for intentional grace building, letting go of perfection, choosing self-kindness, finding small ways to nourish your mental health through movement. Running doesn't have to be epic to be effective. It just needs to be. So these are tips that I'm going to impart to you, incredible women, to help you to keep running through May-December without losing your ever-loving mind. So 1, shorten the window, not the win. You can't squeeze in 45 minutes, go for 15. A quick loop around the block or a few laps at the park still counts. Call it a movement snack. You know we're all about that little exercise confetti around here. It's just a little lightly seasoned with endorphins. Then stack with purpose. Pair your run with something you're already doing. So drop off the kids, run near the school, soccer practice. Maybe you do a jog during their warm-ups, waiting for a meeting, sneak in a walking call. I have been known to do that as well. Pop in my AirPods and take some of my meetings and calls on a walk. Of course, I'm going to ask you to get the crew involved. Invite your kids on a bike run adventure or a stroller jog. Not only does it model self-care, but it helps keep everyone active and entertained, at least until the snacks run out. Of course, though, make it about the mind, more so than the performance, more so than the pace, more so than the distance. Instead of running for the way that it just clears your head, it's a little bit of you time. It loosens the shoulders, give you 5 minutes to say, this is my time, and nobody is actually saying, Mom! Because you know that you probably hear that 5,232 times. But yeah, that probably before 9 a.m. So it's your time to just be you. Of course, while I talked about dopamine dressing in the Met Gala of what sparks joy, this is also a wonderful time to not worry too much about all of those different aspects. If it creates joy for you, great. If joy for you is wearing the same running outfit 4 days in a row so that you don't have to do extra laundry, I'm not here to judge, my friend. You do what creates the most joy for you. And then, of course, let rest be sacred. Rest is part of training, full stop, period. If you're choosing a nap, a long bath, maybe even sleeping in, or a quiet time over a run, that is still caring for your whole self. So leave the guilt behind. And to the moms and everyone who shows up like one, I want you to know that we see you, we celebrate you. We know that this season can feel like a sprint, a juggling act, and a beautiful mess all at once, but you're doing it. You're showing up for others and for yourself, even when it's not perfect, and I am so inspired by you. So here's your official permission slip to give yourself some grace this May. Run when you can, rest when you need, and celebrate the tiny wins. You don't need to do it all. You just need to remember that you matter too. So my friends, I want to say happy Mother's Day to every powerful, caring, extraordinary woman who makes this world better, one step at a time. And then before I officially let you go from this episode, my friends, I just want to leave you with this. You don't have to run the furthest. You don't have to run the fastest. You just have to show up for yourself in whatever way feels good for you right now. And if you're looking for more sparkle and support this summer, hop on over to the Stride Collective Facebook group where the podcast listeners reside. I've dropped in 3 themed virtual run weekends that are going to be co-hosted with the Mod Squad. Thanks, Lynn. Inspired by the Run Disney Summer Series. You don't have to be a Run Disney fan to join the fun. You don't even have to have the virtual medals. We've got the themed games. We've got some dress-up prompts, even in-person meetups for those of you local to Disney World here in Central Florida. So think of it from this perspective. It's just going to be joy and motion no matter where you are, definitely no matter what pace you tackle it at. With that said, until next time, keep moving forward. Dress like joy is the ultimate finish line. And remember that every stride you take is a celebration of how far you have come. This is Coach Christine, and you've been listening to Extraordinary Strides.